Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, we're a quarter of the way through the NFL regular season. Which team is looking like the biggest Super Bowl contender? Plus, LaVar Ball is making headlines again after pulling his son LaMelo out of high school. And will the Cowboys' leaky defense keep them out of the playoffs? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Kansas City is still the only undefeated team in the NFL. After beating the Redskins 29-20, Alex Smith threw a touchdown pass and ran for another. He also led the Chiefs on the game-winning drive in the closing minutes that was capped off by a field goal from rookie Harrison Butker. Before last night's game, despite being the only undefeated team, the Chiefs had the fifth best odds from Westgate to win the Super Bowl, and the Steelers passed the struggling Patriots to claim the top spot. Shannon, who's the best team right now?
Kansas City, and it's not close. I don't
really.
No,
it's not close.
No,
says
it's
the
not.
TV star Shannon Sharpe.
No,
wow.
no, Skip, because this is what I don't understand.
Did you hear it, Twitter? Where are you?
They went on the road.
Yes.
And beat the defending Super Bowl champs.
Yeah.
Hung 42 on them in their building.
Mm-hmm.
They beat a 3-1 Philadelphia team. They beat a 2-2, what put them at 2-2 Washington team last night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how does the New England, who lost to Kansas City, who lost to the Carolina Panthers? Now, New England did beat the New Orleans Saints, who hung 30-plus on Carolina in their building.
Thank you.
Who turned around a week later that went to New England and hung 33 on them. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I get it. You know, they got Le'Veon Bell, best back in football. Antonio Brown, top 3 receiver. Big Ben, I mean, although he's playing like he's semi-retired right now, I expect him to pick it up and play better. But they did lose to Mike Glennon and the Chicago Bears.
They sure did.
Mike Glennon lost his job to Mitchell Trubisky for the upcoming Monday night game.
Correct.
The Pittsburgh Steelers gave up 220-plus yards rushing to the Chicago Bears.
They did.
But so they lost a game, a team that's undefeated.
Yep.
Alex Smith is playing unbelievable. I dubbed him check down Alex, but he's third in yards per attempt.
He is.
Leads the league in completion percentage.
Yep.
8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in football right now.
He is.
And guess who the MVP of the league is right now?
So far.
Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
He wakes up, Skip, I got 100 yards rushing.
Yep.
Gonna get me another 35, 40 through the air. Is the defense the Broncos? No. But they play good enough defense. They still have a guy on that side of the football that once got 22 sacks in the season. Green Bay has lost a game. I don't get it. They're saying right now, Kansas City, with their resume, their body of work, which should speak for itself, they're the best team at the quarter pole. Now, what they're going to be week 5 to week 10, week 9, I don't know. But right now, for what I've seen, this is the best team in football.
Yet, what happened right before your very eyes last night on Monday Night Football at Arrowhead Stadium?
They won.
A very hard place to play. What happened is they should have lost.
Why?
Because a kid named Josh Doxson dropped a ball, if we might see that one more time, please, in the back, not even the back of the end zone.
Stop showing people failures.
Kirk Cousins threw a perfect pass.
First Cousins.
He was first Cousins on this throw because that's just game over touchdown with 57 seconds left. You have to make that catch. You just have to make it because I'm a big fan of that young man. And this is going back to the old show, but I raved about him ahead of his draft 2 years ago, and I applauded the Redskins for taking or getting to take Josh Doxson at 22nd overall late in the first round.
Correct.
And he had Achilles trouble all last year, so he was inconsequential. And that's the kind of play that he made again and again and again and again for TCU, for Trevon Boykin, over a stretch when he caught, what was it, like 57, 59 touchdown passes over a period. Yeah, he beasted everybody. Again, it was college football, but that's the play of the game, man. It's over. It's right. They're not going to come, I don't think, with 50 seconds left.
Alex Smith, the way he's playing, he came right back down the field and got him.
Right I don't think so. So, to me, as crazy as this sounds, the most impressive team I've seen in a very weird first quarter of this season, it's been about as weird as it's ever been to me, and I think it might have a lot to do with the conflict caused by all the protests where teams are split, nobody's quite ready to play, but whatever. The most impressive 4-game team so far is the team that should have won the game last night at Arrowhead. It's the Washington Redskins. Nobody's played better than the Redskins over a 4-game stretch. And I remind you, They went to the Rams, and everybody was saying, no big deal. They beat the Rams at the Rams. And now you say, oh, okay, that was pretty great, right?
Yeah.
And what they did to the Oakland Raiders was absolute devastation and annihilation. I'm going to say it again. Against the Raiders, if I can find it here, they had 427 yards to the Raiders' 131 yards. It's just silly what they did. I hope I got it. 472 to 128.
Right.
That's outrageous. You could say, well, the Raiders aren't quite the Raiders, but I think they sort of left the Raiders for psychological dead after that night. That was on Sunday night.
Was that what they did to the Rams? Was that more impressive than what Kansas City did to the Patriots?
No, but again, the Redskins went to Arrowhead last night and won the football game. That's over. It hit him right in the hands.
Did they?
Okay, did they do enough to win the game? Yes.
No.
Should they have won the game? Yes.
No.
Well, you know it, and I know it. They outplayed them the whole way. They were ahead. They were in control of that game for about three-quarters of that game.
The Houston Texans outplayed the New England Patriots. Did they get the win? No. Wins and losses.
Don't tell me Kansas City's by far the best when they should have lost on that catch at home. That's wrong.
Okay, what team should have won that loss? New England?
What team
New England should be 1-3, right?
How do you mean? Because of the
game? They lost 2 games. They should have lost to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So they'd be 1-3.
I know, but they got the best quarterback in football who's saved.
Who's lost 2 games?
Huh?
Who's lost 2 games at home.
Okay.
The best quarterback in football has lost 2 games at home.
Okay, but I'll give you the Pittsburgh argument because now Pittsburgh is the Las Vegas betting favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I'm with you on Pittsburgh. I look at it and I say, really? You barely beat Cleveland 21-18 in your opener. Then you beat Case Keenum. I'm not that impressed by that. Then you lose at Chicago. And then you beat up on a Baltimore team that had been beaten into the sod in London 44-7 by Jacksonville. And in that game, Joe Flacco had a QBR of 0.5, and then he comes back with a 19 QBR against you. That's a troubled Ravens football team.
Yeah.
So I'm not impressed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, your quarterback probably should have more yards passing than the team scores points. Jacksonville scored 44.
All right.
Joe Flacco threw for 28 in London.
So, and I can't get out of my head that the last scene on the big stage, the Pittsburgh Steelers were at Foxborough for the AFC Championship game just last year, and that was a 36-9 game in favor of Tom Brady and company all the way to the 3:36 mark, at which point the Steelers scored a late touchdown and 2-point conversion, so it wound up 36-17. And you're telling me that much changed? Did the Steelers beef up? Did they add much in the offseason? They didn't add anything at all.
Help me out understand this, Skip. You go back 7, 8, 9 months and talk about the Steelers and how they got blown out by New England.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City just went there a month ago and beat the brakes off the Patriots.
All right,
and they get no credit for that.
Okay, I'm going to give them a little bit of credit for it, but here's my point. I still cannot process, this is the biggest shock of this season through 4 games, that Bill Belichick's defense that was #1 in the NFL last year, that helped him win the Super Bowl, is now historically bad. It's on pace to be the all-time worst defense in the history of pro football since the merger.
Right.
And nothing really changed on that defense except Rob Ninkovich retired. And they added Stephon Gilmore, who was the best corner on the market. So it's still the same defense, and it was #1 in the league last year in points allowed. Okay, so what happened? What changed? I can't get it through my head because Tom Brady's playing at least as high a level as he was last year when arguably he had his best year. So don't give me Pittsburgh over New England, and I give you what happened on Monday night. But what happened was Bill Belichick got exposed on on Thursday Night Football on the opening night. That's what Kansas City did. They exposed a defense.
What about Tom? What did Tom do? So Tom didn't get the ball in the fourth quarter?
No, he was bad in the fourth quarter. Okay, he was really good for 3 quarters, and he's been really good for 4 total games.
Can I ask you a question? Who took the lead going into the fourth quarter? Who had the lead?
New England.
Okay, then. So where was Tom Brady at?
Well, you got to stop. Kareem Hunt went berserk. And by the way, do you realize that Kareem Hunt, 48% of his rushing yards through 4 games have come in the fourth quarter? So almost half his yards rushing have come in fourth quarters, and he beat New England to death that night. right? Catching it and running it,
and that's
right?
that's what you want.
Okay.
That's what's most impressive when a team know you're going to run the football,
Okay.
yet they can do nothing to stop you.
So who had the best, the worst first quarter of the season was Bill Belichick, because he's known for his defensive wizardry, and you have virtually the same defense except you added the best corner on the market, and now you're historically bad. Well, I'm telling you, Bill Belichick's on the hot seat with me
Bill
right
Belichick
now.
is not only in
He's
hot
not
seat.
measuring up to his 40-year-old quarterback.
Well, can you explain to me why was Tom Brady, as great as he is, failed to score any points in the first quarter of the first game? The fourth quarter. Fourth quarter. He scored 0 points. Did he not get the ball?
He got the ball.
Okay, so what
they had
happened?
a bad game. Kansas City got rolling in the fourth quarter and just steamrolled New England at New England.
Okay, so what about Kansas City when they beat Philly? What's Philly's record?
They're 3-1. I think they're way overrated 3-1. I'm not trusting them. We're going to talk about them a little later, talk about the East.
I love how you...
I think they are baloney.
What,
Remember them last year when they were 3-0 and everybody said, oh, that might be the best team in football?
Well, how about this here? If they're baloney, I already know what the Cowboys are. Spam.
Oh, okay.
Potted meat.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, scrapple.
But my point is, the team that has played at the highest level through 4 games is the Washington Redskins. That defense is serious. Now, they had a bunch of injuries in the fourth quarter last night, and Josh
Hold on, time out. Maybe I missed, because I called myself watching the game. Alex Smith, 27 of 37, 293, 1 touchdown. Kareem Hunt, 21 carries, 104 yards. They ran the ball to the tune of 31 for $168, 5.4 on average. But yet, you talk about that defense was what?
Kirk Cousins had a QBR last night of 90. That's hard to do, 90, because he shredded a Kansas City defense.
What did Alex Smith do? You do know Travis Kelce had 111 yards.
Do you realize Eric Berry is no longer there in your secondary now that you're back on the Chiefs bandwagon? He's not there. That's a huge loss for them. That's going to hurt them over time.
Okay.
That was the good news and the bad news about the opening Thursday night was they lost Eric Berry.
Okay, let me try to explain this to you. Like normally when you have a home game and the visitors come in, the visitors leave on the bus, you leave in your car. Now, all I know is that the home team, everybody got in their car, the winner's car, and they went home. Everybody that was a visitor got on the losing bus and went to the airport.
Every Chief knew in his heart of hearts that they were handed that game through the hands of a Josh Doxson who just didn't hold on to the football.
Everybody know that the New England Patriots were handed that Super Bowl last year in their heart of hearts.
Were there any drops? That wasn't what happened. That wasn't game on the line.
What about the blown assignment by Devon?
Help me out, Mr. Receiver.
Yes.
If he comes down with that ball in the back of the end zone, what happens?
They go up, and Alex Smith goes back. Alex Smith goes down the field.
You have 57 seconds left.
Hold on.
Really?
So let me. They have 57 seconds with 2 timeouts.
They're not going to do it. And then you got to go score a touchdown. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it.
Why not?
Because it's check down Alex. You know it, and I know.
Hold up.
He made one play. The play that won the game was with his legs on a scramble.
Alex Smith leads the league in completion percentage, which is no surprise because he's normally check down guy. So, okay, we expect him to have a high completion percentage. But he's 3rd in yards per attempt. So now he's not checking the ball down. Did you see him throw the ball down the field to Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
Okay. Have to be, making them forget about somebody that played tight end there. But that's not here. Kareem Hunt. Is Kareem Hunt not the MVP at the quarter pole? Yes or no?
I would give it to Kirk Cousins so far.
Stop playing. Oh, now all of a sudden you love Kirk Cousins.
I don't love him. I just go with what my eye test is showing me, and he's played the highest level of football.
Need to go back
and I remind you, in the opener at Washington, Kirk Cousins had the ball and is driving to win the game.
And what happened?
He got robbed on a call in which his arm he was clearly throwing the football forward.
Was the ball in his hand?
And no, I mean
empty hand.
The ball. No, it wasn't. He was throwing the football. It was such a horrendous robbery of a call.
And
they let Fletcher Cox pick up the football and run the other way.
You know what you sounded like? I heard a guy on WEEI yesterday complain about calls. They got calls and we didn't. Now all of a sudden.
Are you listening to WEEI?
Yeah, I am listening. I listen to everything.
Are you a closet patriot?
It's my job to know.
What are you?
It's my
How could you listen to WEEI? On your computer?
It's my job to know what's going on.
Well, you rarely do, so I don't know.
Tom Brady.
You know what's going on in Boston, I guess.
Tom Brady should never, ever complain about a call. Because he got the most egregious overturn in the 98-year history. Tuck.
Yeah, that was
So
egregious. I would agree.
him complaining about a call,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it from him.
Okay, but he's not complaining. We're talking about
he
Kirk
was.
Cousins.
He was complaining. Did you hear him on WEEI yesterday?
I did not.
He was complaining. They got calls and we didn't. But we just got to play better. Stop it. You need to stop it. Now all of a sudden you a First Cousins fan.
No, I'm just telling you. Through 4 games, they've played the highest level of football.
And what do they got to show for it?
2-2.
Okay. I'm going with the team that's 4-0, that can run the ball, that can throw the ball, and can play somewhat defense. Look, New England. Oh, you like New England's that defense. You just told me they have a chance to be historically bad.
But they have the best quarterback in football, and he's still playing at the highest level.
Okay, with the best quarterback in football, can you explain to me why they're 2-2?
Well, I just did.
Why? With the best quarterback in football, you should never lose.
I told you the defensive guru is not living up. He's on the hot seat, man.
You
have the same defense plus Stephon Gilmore, but minus Ninkovich, and you're historically bad? Help me out.
Can I ask you a question?
You better get better.
Can I ask you a question? Did you ever make those concessions for Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers when their defenses were horrible?
But their defenses weren't close to this horrible.
Aaron,
this is all-time.
Aaron Rodgers with.
And by the way, you're the one who told me New Orleans' defense is going to be historically bad, and it turned right around and did that number on Cam Newton at Carolina, and then shut out the Dolphins.
And Cam Newton turned right around and did the exact same thing to New England.
Okay, because New England can't stop anybody.
Okay, what about the Patriots?
And Tom Brady keeps them in the game.
No.
They were ahead 27-21 on the best team in football going to the fourth quarter. And you got to stop Kareem Hunt.
So what? Tom Brady's not allowed to score in the fourth quarter? Is that a new rule? Did I miss something?
Can he go both ways and play safety?
No.
Maybe he could play corner.
Maybe he can put the ball in the end zone.
You know what? He could play corner better than Gilmore's been.
Can I ask you a question? What about Gronk?
Yeah.
What about all those receivers? He doesn't need Edelman. He won the Super Bowl without Gronk.
I didn't say he doesn't need him.
How many Super Bowls has he won without Julian Edelman? How many Super Bowls has he won without Gronk? He's the best quarterback in football, yet you say his defense has failed him. But you never made those concessions for Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers. And I'm just trying to figure out why.
Well, Tom Brady has the second best QBR to Deshaun in football, and Deshaun's just been a revelation.
I'm saying Peyton Manning could throw for 400 yards. They lose, and he would get blamed. His defense was bad. Aaron Rodgers in 2011 went 15-1 with the 32nd ranked defense. He lost. But
help me out.
Yes.
How many rings does Aaron Rodgers have?
He has 1.
Okay. How many did Peyton wind up with?
He has 2.
And Tom Brady has how many?
He has 5.
5 rings?
5 rings.
Wow. Well, then I think he gets a little break.
No. You get no. Hold on. This is pro sports. You get no break. You get no breaks.
Yeah.
I'm not giving him no breaks.
At 40, he's played the best 4 games anybody's ever played at 40 years of age because it's the top of the league.
They don't pass out kudos for 40-year-old players. They pass out for wins and losses.
So wait a second. Are you telling me that after you picked New England to win the AFC, which was bad news for the Patriots when you pick them, but are you completely off the bandwagon now?
No.
I think you are.
I'm saying
I think you have
at the quarter
ducked and run
at
already.
the quarter pole. The best team that I've seen are the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Now, where they might be in 10 games from now, that's not the
You were on their bandwagon, driving their bandwagon a lot last year.
All I'm asking.
Remember? And then what happened?
All I'm saying is
trust it?
I saw Kansas City go to New England and pitch a shutout in the fourth quarter to the greatest quarterback to ever breathe oxygen. And I want to know why couldn't he not score?
Because they dominated the ball. Because talk about another.
So he got no. So he did not touch the ball in it. So
have you ever seen a kid drafted this low, 3rd round, have this kind of early impact Kareem Hunt's having? I've never seen it before.
Hey, Steve, I'm gonna need you to get those stats. I need to know what Tom Brady. How many minutes did the Patriots have the ball in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
You're gonna get those stats for me.
Yeah, but this is way beyond Terrell Davis. What he did for you as rookie, remember that?
Yeah, he had TD rush he missed the last 3 games. He had over 1,100 yards.
Yep, but he didn't have 100 until game 11 that year.
Who, TD?
Yeah.
No, TD had some hundreds.
Is it killing you to
I don't think he did.
Yeah, I think
give
he
out
did.
so
I don't think
much
he
Chiefs
did.
love?
No.
Could we check that?
I love
Could I get my man Tyler to check that stat? I don't think TD had 100 before week 11 that year.
No, he had before then.
Did he?
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that.
Well, I'm talking about impact. This kid has changed their life. I give you that.
Okay, and he's on the Chiefs.
But are they real? Are they for real? Is Alex Smith going to live up to all of your ballyhoo when the money's on the table.
Hold on. You just talk about Coach. You just said Coach Belichick's on the hot seat.
I do.
You questioning him?
Am I?
A guy in 34
This
playoff.
is a disaster.
A guy that in 34 playoff games, his defense is giving up 30 points or more 3 times.
Okay. Is Tom Brady living up to who Tom Brady has been? Yes.
Not in the
Is
fourth.
Bill Belichick living up?
Not in the fourth quarter of game 1, he didn't.
Did he live up against the Houston Texans in the fourth quarter with the last throw of the game?
Did he live up?
Yes.
Did he live up against Carolina?
Yeah, he did.
No, he did not.
He threw the pass that tied the game, should have taken it to overtime. Then you can't stop them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, hey, Tom, you should have took more time.
No mercy.
The Eagles are in first place in the NFC East at 3-1 after beating the Chargers on Sunday. A game behind are the Redskins, who dropped to 2-2 after losing to the Chiefs last night, along with the Cowboys. Dallas's defense has been terrible lately, giving up 94 points in their last 3 games. We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Mark Schlereth. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. Good morning.
How will the NFC East play out?
I think right now, when you look at the NFC East, I think the top team in this division, the way they're playing, is the Eagles. Then I think you go to the Washington Redskins, and then I think it'll be the Cowboys after that. And I think one of the big things that you have to look at is you're playing, obviously, your division, the NFC East, and there are legit pass rushers. In New York has, Olivier Vernon. They have JPP. You've got legit the Cowboys. Lawrence is coming off the edge. He's been amazing. You look at that division in general, you've got some guys who can flat rush the passer. You know who else they're playing out of division, out of conference? The AFC West. And the AFC West is loaded with pass rushers. I called that game Eagles-Chargers. Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, legit. They didn't get a sniff. You've got 2 of the best tackles in football in Lane Johnson and Jason Peters, who is the ultimate freak show at 14 years in the league, still moves like a young man. I think that sets them apart, and they have been decimated by injuries on their defensive side. Talking to Jim Schwartz, he said, yes, we've been decimated, but we're going to get all those guys back. They're all coming back at some point. So I look at them, and I think the way their quarterback is playing, and he is the dude, man. He's just got some swagger about him.
Swag.
The fact that they can protect the running backs that they have, they are loaded. Yeah, I would like to see them on the outside have one real deep threat receiver. Yeah. That's not really their thing, but I think the Eagles right now have got the chance to win this division. I think they're the best team right now, as currently constructed. They're the best team in the division.
Eagles. I'm going to the Oscars this year. They said they got a swag bag.
Right.
And that's what the Eagles got. With Carson Wentz, he got swag. You know who don't have swag? Your quarterback. This quarterback is 3-1, and I told you what?
I fear that our man Mark here fell into the coach trap because he just had to sit or got to sit with the Eagles coaches, and all of a sudden you kind of get caught up in Jim Schwartz's energy because he's a fiery guy, and I am not buying the Eagles. I remind you, they started off house of fire 3-0 last year, hit their bye week, and their young quarterback hit the wall thereafter, and they went 7-9 to finish the season. And I'm going to remind you also about that defense. As loaded as it could be, and they're going to get healthy, the Giants went to Philadelphia. And at that point, the Giants had scored 13 points in 11 quarters because they were shut out for the first 3 quarters in Philly. And in the fourth quarter, they scored 24 points in Philly on that defense. That's a bad sign, and I think that will manifest itself again down the line. And I think Carson Wentz is a fine young man, and I know the head coach just loves him like a son, but he comes apart under pressure. If you can get any pressure on him at all, he goes deer in headlights. And I believe as they start to unravel, the pressure will intensify on him as it did last year, and he'll start trying to do too much, and he makes big mistakes at big moments. He threw an interception late in the game at Detroit last year that started their turnaround the wrong direction. And I remind you, at the end of the year, starting November 19th, they go at Dallas, at Rams, look out, at Giants, that's been their nemesis, then Oakland and Dallas to finish. And I say they will finish weakly. And I say that the Cowboys will rise back to the top of this division because I just think they're better overall than the Eagles because their offense is better, their quarterback is better. their run game will be better. I know LeGarrette Blount closed that game the other day and had a flash, but he's not capable of sustaining that game after game. They're going to miss Darren Sproles over time, and he's gone for the year.
It's no accident that last year Carson Wentz's slide started to happen when Lane Johnson went out the lineup.
It hurt.
They couldn't protect him.
Yep.
Now they got those bookends, and he can sit back there and pat the ball.
Okay.
Good things normally happen.
We'll see.
You worry about that team. You got the best offensive line. You got 3 of the top 25 players on your offensive line.
Yep.
And Zeke is averaging 2.8 yards on first down.
Yep, maybe he needs to get in shape, and he'll be a little better.
Well, what you trying to say, Skip?
I just said it. He just doesn't look in shape to me.
I think addressing the defense of the Eagles in the fourth quarter, in the 28 and a half minutes that Fletcher Cox and Jordan Hicks played in that game against the Giants, they gave up 7 first downs and 86 net yards. Those two guys go out in the last 32 and a half minutes or 31 and a half minutes, whatever the math is. Math is hard. I don't really do it very often. But they gave up, I believe it was 14 first downs and 329 net yards. You start losing players in the heat in September, and you start losing the middle of your field, the difference makers, every defense is going to struggle to some degree.
But I don't get that pass from him because I lost my best defensive player before the Rams game.
But your defense,
Sean Lee is the quarterback and the driving force of my defense. But you say, what's it really matter? Everything matters.
But your defense is garbage anyway. Because
really?
was Sean Lee in Denver? Did Sean Lee play in Denver?
My defense that was 5th in scoring defense last year is garbage.
Last year.
But that's because last year it was complimentary football. And that defense was protected because they weren't on the football field.
Yes.
When that defense has to play, if this offense does not pick itself up, and it's okay, I know you love the Cowboys. It's okay to change your mind when new information comes in. Right? It's okay to make a change.
You're working, but you ought to go watch the tape of the first half against the Rams the other day and tell me that didn't look like vintage.
They cut the tape off in the second half, Mark. They cut the tape off in the second half.
Yeah, I watched both halves though. That's part of what I do. So, but if they don't do that on a consistent basis, that's who they have to be. If they cannot be that on a consistent basis for whatever the reasons. I mean, maybe it's because you've got a revolving department store door at the left guard position now that guy, Ronald Leary, is now playing in Denver.
Doing good, too.
Collins, is not what he was at guard, and he was a beast. He's not that at tackle. He does not move as well out there at tackle.
And I will give you this. The 3 studs, 3 of the top 25 players in all of football, have not played to that level yet.
Correct.
And your quarterback, because Zeke is the linchpin. When Zeke goes, now you can play action, throw the ball over people's head. When that play action, now guys are wide open. Now all of a sudden they take Zeke away on first down. It's 2nd and 7. It's 3rd and 8. Instead
I don't
of that
care
little
how much play action you run for number 88. He's not going to get open.
Stop being. Why you out on Dez?
I watch. He can't lose anybody.
What about me?
He's got single coverage the whole game and he can't get open.
But he going against them dogs. You expect him to be okay? Think about who he went against. Janoris Jenkins.
It was tough. I agree.
Okay, then he goes to Denver. They got 3 dogs. Now he goes against Pat Peterson.
It was tough.
And now he goes against Tremaine Johnson.
He did.
What you expecting from him?
I expect him to be a $100 million wide receiver.
Oh, well, I don't know.
I don't expect him to go down for a catch and do this.
Well, you need to
throw up he throws down the X and tries to catch a ball like this, Like, that doesn't work.
Well, I mean, you got to, sometimes you got to pull money like this here. You got to pull that bag of money.
Yeah. I don't throw up the X anymore. I just throw up.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I do.
Joy. Everything last year.
Hey.
Joy, how about the Cowboys? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You realize.
Don't get too crazy. That might happen a few more times this year.
Wait, you realize there are 12 games left in the year? See, that's how I know you haven't watched the NFL that much, but it goes for 12 more weeks.
I bet you won't bang on the table Monday. I bet you don't bang on this table Monday.
You're probably right.
Ain't no problem.
We
got a case to do on this.
I do not have a case
to
do. I already picked Green Bay. I'm with you. But my team will still be 1-0 in the NFC East. And guess what? The team that you picked to win the East is now 0-4.
After the show,
we don't bring that up on this show.
After the show, I'm going to Target. I'm going to get me a case of them old red Solo cups.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a deck of cards, a bag of ice, come here, we're going to bust some. You play dominoes?
You're playing crazy uncle now. Is that your
Yeah,
role
hey,
on the show? You're the crazy uncle.
Because I already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to celebrate.
Okay.
Joy and I, Joy said she can make some mashed potatoes. I mean, a tater salad. I don't know how that thing going to come out, but hey, she say she can. That's what she can.
You make tater salad?
I put it in Uber Eats and I order some potato salad.
That's a shame. That's a shame. You ought to be ashamed of yourself to say that on national TV.
Listen, my mom didn't make me learn how to cook. I got to watch sports.
What would you do at homeschool? You at home? You home all day, she cooking?
We skipped cooking class at home. No mercy. The Cowboys looked great in the first half on Sunday. They led 17-6 at one point before falling apart and losing to the Rams. Shannon, which is the real team? The one we saw in the first half or the one we saw in the second half?
I think they're more in line with the second half. What about you, Skip? That's what I be thinking.
I want you to be objective for once.
Okay, how about this here? I will be totally
honest and objective.
Okay.
Speak your heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Skip, I told you, because their defense is the weakest unit, what you try and do is you try to minimize the opportunities that they're going to be on the field. In order for you to do that, you need to possess the football. And you need to get 7s instead of 3s. They got out to an early lead, and that punt, that fumble punt, that flipped the momentum. But at the end of the day, they started going punt, 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 INT.
Yep.
And then the Rams got a rhythm. They're not the same team. They're the same team physically. But the Broncos gave you the blueprint. Stop Zeke. Force Dak to beat you. If Dak throws for 330 yards, 350 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns, you walk to the middle of the field, you shake his hand, say, damn good performance, son. But teams don't believe he can consistently do that. They're gearing up to stop Ezekiel Elliott because he's the guy that drives that train. I know he's the quarterback, and I know the quarterback he's the most important position. But without Zeke, and Commissioner, you know he's in New Orleans. Called Zeke the other day. Called Zeke. Hey, Zeke, you know what this is? He's like, is this you, Mr. Commissioner? He's like, yeah, I ain't forgot about you. Click. Your defense isn't very good. I tried to tell you this all offseason. Oh, we got a Woozier. We got Jordan Lewis. We got Nolan Christmas Carol because he just be giving up them touchdowns like a Christmas joy. Open presents. Tried to tell you this. Now,
what did you tell me after opening night? Opening Sunday night.
Giants laid an egg.
They laid an egg.
Yeah.
The team that you picked to win the division scored 3 points against my defense that you say is historically bad.
And you know what, Skip? Ever since that picture got posted about Odell on that boat with them Timbs on, they have yet to win a game since. You notice that?
I do. You're right. I didn't pick them. You did.
Odell need to pay to have that scrub. Then he got to get that off the web because as long as it's up there, things ain't going well for him. Skip, this is not the same team. You don't get to pick up, and that's the one thing that Mike would always like. Look, guys, you don't pick up from where you left off last year. I know you were 13-3. We had the league leading rusher. We had the rookie of the year. That's not going to help you in 2017. And teams got, Skip Bayless, that big offensive line. We got the best line in football. You can't touch Dak. You can't stop Zeke. All them defensive guys like, okay, I'm tired of this. I'm going to put a stop to this. And guess what? They put a stop to Zeke Elliott. They forced Dak Prescott. He's not as accurate as he was last year. How many interceptions did he throw last year, Skip?
4.
How many he got right now, Skip?
I don't know. Ask your research.
Skip, don't do that, Skip. See, Skip, why you try to, look here. You try to drive a wedge between me and Steve Owens, not the guy that won the Heisman, but that's not going to happen.
He won a Heisman. You can't take that away from him.
Not this one.
I mean, yes, he did.
This one.
I mean, that's impressive that he came all the way from winning a Heisman to working for you.
Yeah, he be a little old right now, so I don't really know how good his research will be. Skip, they're not the same team. I know you want them to be. You want them to be what they were last year, and they're not, and it's okay. Well, not in your case, it's not okay because you don't want to have me deal with me every day. Every week they lose. I come in here with a red Solo cup on that dog. Oh, my goodness. What a sight.
Yep. So,
objective.
I got, at this point at the quarter pole, I got lots of problems and concerns with my Dallas Cowboys, and I'm going to enumerate them in just a moment.
Okay.
But the question is about what happened last Sunday. And I do remind you that on opening night, I don't think you thought this about my Dallas Cowboys because that was just a tour de force. That was destruction of an Eli and company who had beaten them twice. Really, their only 2 losses all last year were at the hands of Eli and company. and they got revenge. And maybe it was the worst thing that happened because they were strutting their stuff.
Even you were strutting.
I felt pretty good
Yeah,
about
you
it.
did.
I did, because that's the team. And that happened in 2016. That
Yeah.
didn't happen in 2015. So that actually counts on this year's resume, as did Sunday's first half. I told you going in, the Rams are a loaded football team on both sides of the ball. They got weapons and they got studs on defense. And Seattle's going to have a hard time with the Rams coming up this Sunday. That's going to be something to watch. That's your pick to win it all. Are you sweating that one?
Because think about it, Skip. Jeff Fisher kept his job for
did.
a couple of years because he beat Seattle and he could beat Arizona. He lose everybody else, but he could beat those two teams.
That is correct. So against that loaded Rams football team that I feared in the first half, my team rang up 287 yards. That's a lot of first half yards.
That's a lot.
And held them to 131, which by my defensive standards this year, that was pretty impressive. 18 minutes to 12 minutes controlling the clock. That'll work. That's 2016, right? That's the MO. 24 points scored, but unfortunately the kid from North Carolina tries to play hero with the punt, and it wrecked the momentum and kept it from being a first half blowout. And I knew it was coming because my team had played a tough road Monday nighter. And that team, the Rams, had 10 days to recover and recuperate from the last time they played. So they were fresh in the second half. My team started running out of gas, especially my running back, who still doesn't look in the best shape to me. And I wish they had spelled Ezekiel Elliott a little bit more, because that Alfred Morris guy, remember that guy?
Yeah.
The one touch he had in the first half, what happened? Pew! He was just about gone, right?
Yeah.
What was it, 70 yards he went with the ball? So you got to let him touch the ball a little more to keep Zeke a little fresher down the stretch. And in the second half, the roof fell in on my defense because I didn't have the quarterback and by far the best player and the driving force of my defense, Sean Lee. And if you take him away, I'm with you. They're not very good.
You had him in the first half.
Did not have him. No,
Yeah.
Sean Lee was out
I
the whole
know.
game.
That's my point.
Oh, what do you mean, first half of the year?
No, my point was he wasn't there in the first half.
Yeah.
And you got out to that big lead.
I know, because you went 18 minutes. You controlled the clock, 18 to 12.
So when you say 18, 12.
So the problem is you don't have Anthony Hitchens. You don't have Nolan Carroll. Scandry's playing with the broken hand. All of a sudden, the war of attrition wins. You lose it. And down the roof falls in at Jerry World, because the Rams go for 309 yards in the second half, and you pile up 125. And the clock goes to 19 minutes to 11 minutes for the Rams. That's the recipe for disaster in the second half. So I'm going to hang my hat on the first half, because they'll slowly but surely get healthier on defense. I'm hoping Sean Lee can play against your man, Aaron Rodgers, the greatest thrower of the football in the history of pro football. And yet, I have concerns because they get too Dez dependent when the chips are down. When they're up against it, Dak keeps looking for 88, and he ain't there anymore. And just look at the targets. In the 2 losses, he has 29 targets in 2 losses. In the 2 wins, 11 targets to Dez. What does that tell you? Don't throw it to 88 so much. Spread it out. Throw it to somebody else.
Hold on.
Huh?
Why we pay? Hold up. We paying them $14 million.
That is correct.
Well, we need to. You need to
Fortunately,
get open.
he's not that guy who got that deal in 2015.
Well, see, Mike Shanahan, when we played the Raiders man team, Kansas City man team, he'd say, guys, if you can't beat man cover, you got 2 choices. You either selling cars or you're coaching. Now, John said he's not hiring any more salesmen. John Elway owned car dealership.
Yep.
He's not hiring any more car salesmen. And my coaching staff is filled. So basically, if you can't beat man coverage as a receiver and tight end, you're going to be out of a job.
That is correct.
Okay, Dan.
So guess who else we have? This guy named Bryce Butler. Every time he makes a play, it's a splash play.
Big time.
So I want to see, I can't, they're not going to do this, but I want to see Bryce Butler instead of 88.
Where's your boy T. Will? Where's your boy Beasley?
Throw it to him.
Skip,
Beasley.
I can't understand why fatigue didn't affect your team in the first half when they rang up 285 yards.
87.
Or 287 and had the ball for 18 minutes.
Because obviously, if you keep playing, the longer you play, the tireder you get. When you played on a road Monday night against a tough team.
So what happened in the second half? Why y'all only had the ball for 11 minutes?
Ran out of gas. And my offensive line that's supposed to be the best, it's just not the best anymore. Ronald Leary went to you guys, my guard, but I can't believe because the 3 studs are still there. 3 ranked in, the top 25 of all players?
All
right?
players.
And they're not playing to that level because Lyle Collins is really good, but he moved from guard out to right tackle for Doug Free, but he's still there. So you would think it would be really good. Well, maybe they need to get kicked in their butt again, and they got kicked in the second
Oh, it's going to
half.
happen again.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Daniels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you're challenging my line. You're saying they ain't all that, right?
And if Jared Goff can throw for almost 300, I already know what that man going to do up in Green Bay.
Oh, he'll throw for – you know what? He might go for the Tony Romo number. He might go for 506.
No, don't worry. He don't need that. He don't need all that.
Yeah, he does.
No, he don't.
Come on.
400 though.
Well, they don't have any other thing. They can't run it.
And guess
they
what?
can't play defense.
And guess what? When I come in here on Monday, red Solo cup, a deck of cards, have a bag of ice.
Really?
Have some tater salad cooked up.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have me a cookout.
Thing hanging out.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on them grapes though this time.
Yeah, really?
Oh yeah, it's happening.
No mercy. LaVar Ball said yesterday that he is taking his youngest son, LaMelo, out of high school and will homeschool him instead. LaMelo is currently a junior and is committed to play at UCLA in 2019. LaVar says he has issues with Chino Hill's new coach and the school administration. He talked about his decision last night. Let's take a listen.
Does this affect whether he goes to UCLA or not?
No, this ain't going to affect him going to UCLA. We're still in high school. We're just going to homeschool for 2 years.
Where does he get games in? Where does he get games in?
What?
Where does he get games in?
I can get him the best game every day. All the fact, I just got to go down to the hood, say, who want to ball with my son? And it'd be ex-pros, D1 guys, JC guys who don't want to study, say, hey, I'm coming up there right now. It ain't going to be no problem finding no games.
What was the high school coach doing that you didn't like?
He started coming in there. He told Melo, oh, them 50 shots a game, you ain't got to worry about those no more. He came in with his own mindset like he going to change the whole program. I told him we lost 3 games in 3 years. Come on, man. What are you bringing to the table?
And some would say he's just coaching.
He's not even coaching. He's just riding on my boy's coattail. Where'd he come from? He said he played at Arizona. He said he played at Notre Dame, but he didn't tell nobody he sat on the bench the whole time and had to transfer till he went to Hampstead or something like that. Nobody know about that school.
My general thought is whoever takes that job knows that they got to deal with you. Why would somebody take the job?
Everybody knows when they take that job, they got to deal with me. Who do they think built the program? Nobody knows about Chino Hills if the ball boys ain't there. And I started off by saying, you know what? My son ain't going to Modern Day and all these other schools. They're going to be right around the corner. Now, if you listen and get along with me, you're going to be undefeated. But once you want to do it your way and have your name on it and say, hey, it's me who did it, you're going to fall down.
We're joined by Rob Parker. Good morning, Rob.
Good
Welcome.
morning.
Rob, do you have a
what?
Once you listen to me and Skip, Northside Show,
Yep.
everything will be okay.
Oh, is that right? Is that how it
And
goes?
if you don't like it, you know where the door is.
Oh, can I get up and leave?
No, we don't mind a little disagreement around here.
Wow. Is that how y'all run this show
Yep.
now?
Educated disagreement. Do you have a problem with this?
I do have a problem with this. Not the homeschooling thing. If it's about education, that's totally different.
Right.
This is pathetic from the standpoint of because his kid can't get 50 shots, you're going to take him out of school and do this. Why? This is like, there's so many things I like about him, LaVar, as far as a dad and his kid's life, got 3 kids to go to Division I scholar. I get all that. I applaud him for all that.
Right.
This is ridiculous. This just sounds absurd from the standpoint of, he's going to tell the coach what to do, and because the coach ain't on board with what he wants, I'm going to take my kid out of school and, woe is me, and the whole school's going to cry and
Right.
pass around tissues, and how bad is this for everybody else? Let those other kids go and play high school basketball, have some fun, enjoy it. It ain't all about his kids. It's wrong. And that's the stuff that I think is kids, when they see this, and I know they're going to go along with their dad. I get all that. But it sends a bad message. It just does to other people. And that's why, I'll be honest. You bought his sneakers.
I did.
What he said yesterday would make me never want to buy his sneakers or contribute, just because I just don't think that's the right attitude. Not because he's trying to do his own business. I just don't endorse that. I will never endorse where it's all about you and your family and nobody else matters. I think that's where he comes off as not caring. There are 11 other kids on that basketball team. What? They don't matter? You don't care about them?
No, we can't give everybody 50
right?
shots.
You don't care about anybody else but your sons? There's nothing wrong with loving your sons, but that shouldn't be in the way of other people having some happiness and some success and some enjoyment. And I think that's where he strikes out and misses it with me. So, no, I think it's pathetic, and I don't like it.
Skip, the more you and I talked about this earlier, but the more I listen to it, I don't think people have a problem with the LaVar Ball pulling his kid out of school and homeschooling him. I think it's the reasons why he did it that's going to rub people the wrong way. And he made it abundantly clear. Coach wouldn't kiss my butt, so basically I'm pulling my kid out.
Yeah.
Hey, if you understand, I built this school was built on the back of the ball boys. And like he said, you got to deal with me. You deal with me, everything's going to be okay. If you don't deal with me, you're going to fall down. So he made it abundantly clear why he's pulling his son out. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people will be out on LaVar about this decision. If you want to pull your kid out of school and says, okay, the level of competition is not where I need it to be. Well, the academics at this school is not where I need it to be.
I buy all that.
Got no problem with it. But once you said, the coach came in and said, oh, Melo, you're not getting 50 shots, or they're not going to listen to me, or they're not going to kiss my butt, I'm pulling my son out. And I'm not going to send them to Matter Day because that's already a powerhouse. They're already established. So I already know I can't go around there and run nothing but my mouth. So I just might as well go in and keep my kid out, homeschool him, go down to the hood, get me a couple of players, let them come play one-on-one. I got no problem with this decision. I think people are going to have problems with the reasons for this decision.
Yep. So just to state the case for LaVar Ball, I will never take this away from him. He didn't do just a good job with his number one son. He did a great job because Lonzo is all about being unselfish to a fault and humble to a fault. I don't know how, and again, I give the mom a lot of credit here too, but they raised a really fine number one son.
He's unaffected.
Yeah, unaffected. I fear for the youngest son because all the messages are wrong. Because on the big baller AAU team, coached by LaVar, when LaVar got into it with the referee, he just said, we're going home. We're out. You can't have us anymore. You can't have my star kid here. And LaMelo has become, we talked about this earlier, but this is just my opinion of this. I cannot remember a more famous sophomore in high school athlete than LaMelo has become because of Lonzo and certainly because of LaVar.
Would you say
LaVar has talked him into national existence.
But this is the only thing, Skip.
Yeah.
Where is LiAngelo, who he don't even mention?
Jello.
Oh, right? I'm talking about the number two son who's going to UCLA, right? And he doesn't even mention him. You know why? He's not a star. He's not even discussed.
I think he's going to be a decent player, but not a star.
Where's his shoe? Am I missing something?
Well, he isn't under scholarship.
Yeah, he can't do a shoe. Skip, do you think Melo's personality strikes me more of LaVar? I think the baby boy has a personality that's more like LaVar.
Big talk.
And I think,
we saw in the home videos.
And I think Lonzo has a personality more like, because he likes the camera. He doesn't have a problem saying things on camera like LaVar, where Lonzo is like, hey.
Hey, LaMelo scored 92 points as a sophomore in high school.
Cherry picking
like crazy. But you know what? He's got big talent. Big talent. So I'm not going to bet against him as a basketball player, but on learning how to deal with adversity that's going to get thrown his way, he's got no experience doing that because for his 16th birthday, Dad and Mom gave him a Lamborghini. I don't know. Man, I just don't know. Talk about potentially being spoiled brat going forward.
I'm trying
like
what I got for my
uncoachable.
16th birthday. I got a 10-speed.
My first car, Chevy Vega, I paid $600 for it out of my pocket.
You didn't get it at 16, did you?
No, I was 18.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Where did you get $600?
I was working at the shoe store.
Oh, good for you.
I saved my own money.
The convenience store after hours.
What?
Yep. Well, the problem with LaVar is he has now become addicted to attention, and I fear that he's reaching farther and farther for shock value, for headlines,
but also
for explosion on the internet at the expense of the youngest.
It's working, Skip.
Yep. Oh,
I'm telling you, I was literally thinking yesterday in one of the breaks, we haven't heard from LaVar Ball.
Yeah,
and
there you
then
go.
boom, there it is. Right, he's been quiet for
But he did
I
say
thought it
Lakers,
into existence.
Say Lakers, if the Lakers get them suckers talking about the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, they go to the NBA.
The Lakers aren't even making the playoffs. What's he talking about?
Well, you know what? You can thank LaVar for introducing you to homeschool kids, Rob.
Skip, you drinking the Kool-Aid.
Now you know
I
a
love
homeschool
the
person.
number one.
Yes, I do. You're the first homeschool person I've ever met. I'm serious. I've never heard of it.
Can't bake a cake, can't make cupcakes.
What'd you do while you were at home? Sleep?
Played sports.
Well, who? You played kickball in the front yard?
I have brother and sister. And
They went to
neighborhood
regular school.
kids.
They went to school and you were at home?
No, I wasn't the only one. We were all
home.
homeschooled.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll tell you the story later.
Yeah,
Thanks
I
for
wanna
joining
know
us.
that.
They kept me
Played
at home by myself.
She played kickball with the neighbors.
I mean, I'm weird. I'm not that weird. No mercy. Last week, President Trump withdrew a White House invitation to the NBA champion Warriors. LeBron James responded to that by calling the president a bum on Twitter and adding, "Going to the White House was an honor until you showed up." After that happened, Cavs owner Dan Gilbert said this: "I received voicemails after LeBron tweeted that were some of the most vile, disgusting, racist messages. There's an element of racism that I didn't even realize existed in this country this much. The thing is, some of the most disgusting things I've heard people say, and you could hear it in their voice, the racism, it wasn't even really about the issue, and that's what really got me, because they went to who they really are, some of them." Shannon, what's your reaction?
I'm surprised he's surprised. On May 31st, there was something scribbled on LeBron James's Brentwood home gate. I guess Mr. Gilbert, he didn't know anything about that. So let me get this right. What about that email that when LeBron took his talents to South Beach that you wrote? At the bare minimum, that's hate mail. That's at the bare...
Refresh everybody's memory about that.
Well, he called, he said, you're self-anointed king, you're entitled, and it's going to be I'm going to win a chair. I can promise the people of Cleveland a title before you win one.
Wait a second. In that, he accused
Accused
LeBron
of
of
quitting.
quitting in
Yeah.
the final playoff series against Boston before he took his talents to South Beach. Really?
See, here's the thing, Skip. A lot of people don't want the truth because the truth would destroy their illusions. Dan Gilbert, like a lot of wealthy white men in America, these issues do not affect them. They're not going to get discriminated against. They're not going to get brutalized by the police. So the issues that affect a lot of minorities in America does not affect them. Therefore, it doesn't affect them. They don't believe it exists. And therein lies the problem, Skip, because here he is. Here's a guy that's worth about $6 billion, says he did not know an element of this type of racism existed in America. Remember, I told you, he doesn't want the truth because it would destroy the illusion. See, the illusion is for a lot of men in America that racism does not exist. And to them, being on the receiving end of it, they're absolutely correct. But in everyday society, we know that it does exist. Plus the fact, the guy that LeBron James called a bum, Dan Gilbert supported. So Dan Gilbert does not want to think the guy that I supported, that's had been one of the, I think it's fairly safe to say, I go back, I remember when Jimmy Carter got elected. And the only reason he got elected because President Ford pardoned Richard Nixon. Had he not pardoned Nixon, I feel President Nixon feel very comfortable in saying he probably would have won that election. But that's not, so I go back that far. It's hard for me to believe there's been a more divisive president in American history than what the president that's occupying the Oval Office currently. And not that racism did not exist before President Trump got in office, nor will it be exempt once he leaves. But what he's done is that he's driven a wedge even more between the two. And he's made it okay because some of the things that he'll say, some of the things that he'll tweet, if I'm a person, say, hold on, because I remember when the president was the most respected office in the land, and that was an honor. So you're like, well, hold on, the president said this. Took it at his word. Go face value. But with some of the things that this president will say, some of the things that he will tweet, well, if he says that, it's got to be okay with me because he's held to a higher standard. If he's held to the highest standard and it's okay for him, well, shoot, me? I should be able to say whatever I want to say. I disagree with LeBron. I would not have called him that. I would not have, because I still respect the office of the presidency. I don't have that much, and it's hard, Skip, and I said before, it's hard to respect a man who does not respect the office in which he holds. He has no respect for that office. He runs it just like he runs his day-to-day life, his day-to-day Trump organization. But for Dan Gilbert to be so disingenuous, to say. So let me get this. Before I turn it over to you, Skip. So let me get this right. So when LeBron finally left, you didn't hear nothing. Ain't nobody say that uppity, you know what? All that money you paid him, Dan Gilbert. I told you that end was. And for you, Dan Gilbert, if you wrote that email and it got released publicly, I'd be a fool. As my grandma used to say, boy, you be a D-fool if I don't think you said words privately.
Yep.
So, Dan Gilbert, stop. You need to stop playing. You and I both know there's an element of racism that exists. It's become more prevalent. The president that's occupying this office has made it okay. He's made it okay to be outwardly, openly, and blatantly. So don't do this, Dan. Don't insult my intelligence. Don't insult LeBron's intelligence. Just, hey, it happened. You wanted to share everybody. You should have shared some of those ones that came in when he left. But you didn't want to say that because guess what? You might have been co-signing. Yeah, you're right, that uppity you know what. Go ahead, Skip.
I have so many problems with what Dan Gilbert said on CNBC's Squawk Box about, not about LeBron, but about racism, that we don't have enough show for me to tell you all the problems I have. The irony here, the hypocrisy here is suffocating until it's to the point for me of sickening. Because I'm going to remind everybody that Dan Gilbert was a supporter of Donald Trump's and gave $750,000 to the inauguration, not pre-election, but to the inauguration. And I want to point out that on June 28th, when the Chicago Cubs visited the White House, that one Dan Gilbert was on the scene at the White House, reportedly to discuss growth in Midwestern cities, recovery in Midwestern cities, but Donald Trump called Dan Gilbert his friend that day as the Cubs were being celebrated and yelled for, "Where's Dan Gilbert? Get Dan Gilbert in here."
Yeah.
And then he put Joe Madden, the Cubs manager, up to asking, he said, "Ask Dan how he's getting along with LeBron right now." Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, how he's doing with LeBron right now. Ask him, Joe Madden. And Joe Madden awkwardly asked Dan Gilbert, how are you doing with LeBron? And Dan was horrified. It appeared in the picture, you know, and awkwardly said, "Oh, good. We're doing good right now."
Because what did he say behind closed doors?
Well, the point is that it sounded like President Trump and Dan Gilbert had a conversation about how he was doing with LeBron. And so I don't know if he was just goading him or kidding with him. I better, no. Yeah, okay. So, but the point is that Dan Gilbert became part of the Cubs celebration at the White House. Yeah. And then he dares to try to align himself with LeBron against racism. And here's the other part of the story that does not pass muster to me. In all my years of covering sports, and I did not do any homework on this, so maybe they do have one, but I've never heard of an owner having a public voicemail that anybody can call and leave messages on. I've never heard of it. Maybe Dan Gilbert does have one or the Cavs have one, but really he checks it himself. Do you realize, obviously, if your star player is going to call the current president of the United States a bum on Twitter and you have a public voicemail, oh, it's come one, come all.
Yeah.
You remember the movie Blazing Saddles?
Yes.
Where the bad guys lined up to audition for the job, you know, the bad guy job? Well, that line of people, those are the people who would call that voicemail, right? And they're going to leave vile, racist messages because it's like it's an open invitation to anybody to leave one. It's worse than Twitter, right?
Of course.
Okay, so I'm just not buying it. And then for him to be, so to use your word, disingenuous, so blatantly naive. He knows exactly what's going on out there, but then it's like, I'm aligning myself with my man LeBron. We're in this together. We're fighting racism together. That's how it comes across to me.
No, we're not.
Baloney.
LeBron said, "I'm about to leave you."
Yeah.
Because guess what? That voicemail that he checked was his own phone. He's like, oh,
it was his own phone. Boy, you got a lot of messages.
Yeah. Oh.
You get texted during the show?
Skip.
Shannon, you're a star.
They be trying to see me that dog. I told them I'm stopping them. I'm a Cowboy fan.
They want you to slip that.
That black and mild?
Yeah.
I'm going to get on them grapes, though. I had that wine yesterday. I'm about to get on them grapes. But anyway, Skip, think about what's being said when teams lose. When teams lose, what gets said. Can you imagine? Now, no matter what, you know, hey, 320 million Americans, they're a big population that love President Trump. There's some that dislike. I mean, I don't really think there's a middle ground. Either you're on this side of the fence, you're on that side of the fence. And if you say something about him, It's just like some people view President Trump like family. If you attack him, you're attacking their family.
Sure.
They're going to lash out at you.
Absolutely.
So I get it.
You better believe they will.
I get it.
Especially if you go to bum.
Right. But for Dan Gilbert, after what LeBron did in the summer of 2010, to leave, and after the hate email that you sent out, to think.
It was a statement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
For him, like, for Dan Gilbert and for a large segment, you're right. Racism doesn't exist to them because they will always be unaffected. Who's going to discriminate against a man making $6 billion? That's worth $6 billion, Skip. How does he get denied something? He doesn't. But for the average person, and even when you're black, you can be worth $20 billion. They're gonna say he's the richest black man. See, they don't say Bill Gates is the richest white man in the world.
That's true.
They say Bill Gates is the richest man in the world.
But
when black, he's the richest black.
Yep.
Oprah is the wealthiest black woman in the world. So they always got to put that moniker with there.
I'm not sure. I think she transcended. I think she's like just one of the richest people in the world.
Hey, Oprah,
Yeah.
show Skip some of them emails you get.
Oh.
But anyway, no, I don't know if they have an email address, but no, she get it too. She get it too. But anyway, Skip, but for Dan Gilbert to say this, that he doesn't think, I mean, come on.
Well, he said he received voicemails. So these are people that he knows calling him.
Right.
Well,
according
I thought
to
he
his
meant,
quote.
No.
Yeah, but I thought he meant like public with the Cavaliers.
No.
His quote says that I received voicemails.
Well, again, I'm taking that as a representative of the franchise.
He received them from him. They call this number. Because
well, that's a whole different twist.
Because here's the thing, Skip. If somebody sends you something, you don't know that person to begin with. He said they reveal who they are.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really clarify. It could be some people that he is not close with, but...
Well, is he saying his friends left vile, racist messages?
Who
else has his phone number?
It might have been 45 calling.
Well, I mean...
You lost me there.
The more standout thing to me is just that, we're all saying this exists. Like you're shocked, and I mean, what happened in Charlottesville? You're just in shock that there's racist people in this country.
But that's the thing, though, because if it doesn't affect him, see, he's not affected by it. It doesn't impact him.
Well, of course it doesn't impact him.
Yeah.
But I mean, he has a television. I'm sure a nice big one.
No.
No?
No, he ain't watching that. He ain't watching television. He counting them. He got that money machine. Just roll up and move big stack.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Catch us again the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then. Fox Sports 1 of 1.